Farming has always been a battle against the elements. But what if? What if you could know exactly what the weather was doing, not just in the nearest town, but right in the middle of your own field? Well, today we're going to dive into the tech that's making that a reality.
I mean, really think about it. The forecast on your phone, that's for a whole region. But we all know a single thunderstorm can soak one field and completely miss another one just a mile down the road. And that difference? That's everything when you're trying to manage crops. So how on earth do you get that super specific, hyper-local data?
Well, you get it with one of these. This right here is an agriculture weather station. It's this compact, solar-powered little unit that sits right out there in the field. It measures over 10 different environmental parameters and, here's the best part, sends all that crucial data in real time straight to a farmer's phone or computer.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll talk about what makes this a truly modern forecaster. Then, we'll get into the good stuff, the data it harvests, and talk about how it's built to survive out in the field. After that, we'll check out some really smart design features before finally looking at the proof, which of course is in the data itself.
So what is this thing really? I think the best way to think about it is less like a traditional weather vane and more like a personal, dedicated meteorologist that lives on your specific piece of land.
The official term for it is a highly integrated device, and that word, integrated, is absolutely key. See, in the past, a farmer might have needed a separate tool for rain, another one for wind, another for temperature. This completely replaces that old, kind of patchwork approach with a single, easy-to-install unit that does the whole shebang.
And here's what that complete system looks like when you put it all together. You've got the weather station itself, right? Then a solar panel so it can just power itself indefinitely out in the field. You've got soil sensors to see what's happening underground, and a 4G wireless module to beam all that information back to you. It's basically a self-sufficient data gathering hub. Okay, now let's get to the heart of it all. Any piece of tech is only as good as the information it gives you. So what data is this station actually harvesting from the environment? This right here is where the magic happens. Every single measurement you see connects directly to a critical dollars and cents farming decision. Temperature and humidity, those aren't just numbers, they help predict plant growth and, maybe more importantly, the risk of disease. Knowing the exact rainfall means you don't waste water or short your crops. Wind speed tells you if it's safe to spray pesticides without them just blowing away. And this last one, ET0, or evapotranspiration, oh man, this is a game changer. It calculates the exact amount of water your crops are losing to the air, which lets you be incredibly precise with irrigation.
So, collecting all that data is one thing, but this device has to live outside, 24/7, for years on end. Let's talk about how it's actually designed to be tough enough for that job.
I mean, think about it. Blazing sun, pouring rain, high winds, heat, cold. A farm is a really unforgiving place for sensitive electronics. So for a device like this, durability isn't just some nice-to-have feature on a sales brochure. It is an absolute necessity if it's going to be a worthwhile investment. And this picture illustrates a huge part of that durability perfectly. The device on the left, it's made of a high-quality material called ASA. It's resistant to UV rays and aging. Now look at the one on the right. That's what happens to standard ABS plastic after it's been sitting in the sun. It gets yellow, brittle, and eventually it just fails. Using ASA means the station isn't going to degrade, and that saves farmers the cost and the headache of having to replace it all the time. Okay, so durability is about surviving the elements, but smart design? That's about surviving the inhabitants of the field and making sure you don't have to constantly mess with it.
Now this might seem like a really small detail, but it is incredibly clever. Birds, well, they love to build nests on outdoor equipment, and a nest can easily block a rain gauge or a wind sensor, which makes your data completely useless. This special design physically stops birds from perching and nesting on it, and that means you get more accurate data and you don't have to climb a ladder to clean out a bird's nest.
And hey, you don't have to just take my word for it. This is a review from a verified customer. They specifically call out the anti-bird pin and the good design that makes the whole thing maintenance-free. That's real-world proof that this one small feature can have a really big impact.
So we've covered what it measures and how it's built to last, but honestly, none of that matters if the numbers are wrong. So let's get to the most crucial point. How can you actually trust the data it's giving you?
When you're deciding when to water, when to plant, or when to protect against a sudden frost, you're making decisions that affect your entire harvest, your entire livelihood.
You just can't base those decisions on a guess. Accuracy is absolutely everything.
So this is how you get that accuracy. This is not some consumer gadget you buy off the shelf. It's a scientific instrument. Every single station is calibrated in a professional wind tunnel to make sure its wind speed and direction readings are precise against a known standard.
And the testing does not stop there. What you're looking at here are environmental chambers. They put the stations inside these things and subject them to extreme heat, cold, high humidity, and different pressures to make sure they perform reliably no matter what the real world throws at them.
So what's the result of all that intense testing? It's validated proof of performance. The calibration certificate shows exactly how accurate each sensor is. We're talking about temperature readings that are accurate to within 0.3 degrees Celsius. Rainfall measured to within less than half a millimeter. Every single sensor is validated.
So, when you put it all together, the comprehensive data, the durable design, the proven accuracy, it becomes pretty clear. This isn't just a fancy weather vane. It's really more like the central nervous system of a modern, data-driven farm.
So let's just recap how it all comes together. It's a simple but really powerful four-step process. First, the station gathers that hyperlocal data, around the clock. Second, it sends those insights right to the farmer. Third, this empowers them to make smarter, more timely decisions about their resources. And the final result? It all leads to more efficient, more productive, and more sustainable farming.
Which kind of leaves us with one last big thought. As our weather patterns become less and less predictable, and the global demand for food just keeps growing, technology like this really moves from being just a helpful tool to being an essential one. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Just how critical is this kind of precise field-level data going to be for the future of how we feed the world?